welcome back. This is Ashley with Evans Behavioral Services. We are continuing our RBT task list study prep series. Today is section B, all about assessment. So we use many different types of assessments in ABA. There are, for example, functional behavior assessments, preference assessments, skill assessments, curriculum-based assessments. Your BCBA may at times delegate certain assessment-based tasks to you as an RBT. So this section is going to go over all of the tasks, the assessment tasks that you might be responsible for. So B-1 is all about conducting preference assessments. Preference assessments are used to identify a learner's preferences. This information can help us to ensure a motivating and enjoyable learning environment. It also can help us to determine what items and activities may serve as reinforcers. It is important to note, though, that a preference assessment is not the same thing as a reinforcer assessment. So just because somebody likes a certain thing doesn't necessarily mean that that thing is going to be motivating or reinforcing for them. So there is a differentiation there for you to be aware of. There are a few different preference assessments. The first one here we'll talk about is free operant preference assessment. This is observing a learner in their natural environment and recording what items they choose to engage with and like how long they're engaged with an item. So you would just watch them play essentially and see what they are on their own navigating toward it. Are they grabbing for Play-Doh? Are they playing with cars? That sort of thing. Single stimulus preference assessment. This is presenting the learner with one item at a time and recording their response to each item. So you might hand your learner a car and record whether they accepted it, what they did with it, how long they played with it, and so on. Paired choice preference assessment. This is presenting two options. So think of two pair and allowing the learner to choose one. A hierarchy of preferences is created once each item being tested is paired with every other item at least once. So if you have 6 items that you want to assess, you're going to make sure that each of those items at least once is paired with all the other items. Multiple stimulus with replacement assessment. This one, you typically provide 6 to 8 items, so it's a larger size field. You allow your learner to choose one item. They interact with it for a short time, and then you're gonna take the items away and replace the field with new items. Similar multiple stimulus without replacement. This is where, again, you're presenting about 6 to 8 items and the learner chooses one. Once they're done interacting with it for a short period of time, then that item is taken away and not replaced. So that's the differentiation is with this one, the item is not replaced. So then the learner would choose another item. So what's the next item in that field that they are interested in and want to play with? That's the one that they would choose next. Section B-2 is assist with individualized assessment procedures. You may be assigned tasks related to skill or curriculum-based assessments. When conducting these, you're essentially determining if your learner currently has that skill in their repertoire before conducting any type of intervention. Assessments are used to identify goals, monitor progress. Common assessments you might see and work with are the VB MAP, AFLs, ABLs, and PEAK. One thing to note is when you are probing these skills on an assessment, you don't prompt or reinforce or follow error correction because we are differentiating between probing the skill and teaching the skill. So in this phase, there isn't an intervention being implemented. So therefore, you're not going to like prompt or reinforce or anything. B-3 assist with functional assessment procedures. Another term for this is functional behavior assessment, FBA. These are a set of procedures used to determine the function and maintaining variables of the target behavior. So essentially just looking at what is causing the behavior or what the behavior is, what the child is seeking by engaging in the behavior. FBAs include both indirect and descriptive assessment. Indirect assessment types are like interviews, questionnaires, surveys. So for example, you might interview a child's parent and ask them questions about uh, the behavior of interest. So what the behavior, perhaps the child is engaging in aggressions. You might interview the parent asking about when the behaviors occur, if they have identified any particular antecedents and consequences, things like that. And then descriptive assessment is more often what you would be doing, which is direct observation and data collection. So this is oftentimes we use ABC data to record this descriptive assessment data. So in ABC, the A stands for antecedent. An antecedent is what happens right before the behavior. A common misunderstanding is that some people believe antecedent to mean what caused the behavior, but it's really important to differentiate this, that you're not, when you're conducting or recording ABC data, you're not trying to determine why the child engaged in that behavior. You're simply recording that antecedent, which is what happened right before. Even if to you it doesn't make any sense, like, oh, we were just sitting and then he started jumping up and hitting, then sitting was the antecedent. So whatever was happening right before is the antecedent there. Behavior, what did it look like? So given the topography, consequence, what happened right after. So again, consequence can sometimes be misunderstood as like a consequence meaning a punishment, but that's not necessarily what the ABC analysis is looking at. The consequence in behavioral terms is just what happened right after the behavior. So that is all about section B. Feel free to check out my full-length study guide for more of an in-depth view, but let's go over a couple of questions. So number one, you are observing your supervisor conduct a preference assessment. She presents a toy dinosaur and a toy car. The learner chooses the car. After a minute, she removes the car and presents Legos and a ball. Your learner chooses the Legos. She continues going through this until each item is paired with each other. What type of preference assessment would this be? A, single stimulus, B, multiple stimulus with replacement, C, free operant, or D, paired choice. First, I'm going to eliminate single stimulus. She presented a toy dinosaur and a toy car. So that would be 2. So single stimulus would not make sense there. Then I'll eliminate multiple stimulus with replacement. Multiple stimulus refers to 3 or more. So most often it's like 6 to 8 items in that field. But in this example, she only presented 2 at a time. So multiple stimulus would not be correct. I'll eliminate free operant. Free operant is just observing the child naturally. So in this example, she presented the items. So therefore, she was not just observing freely them engage with toys. And then that leaves us with paired choice. So paired choice is presenting 2 items at a time and allowing your learner to choose one or the other. Practice question number 2, recording ABC data when your client bites would fall under which type of assessment? Is it A, indirect, B, descriptive, C, experimental functional analysis, or D, preference assessment? Let's go ahead and eliminate A. Indirect can get eliminated. We know that indirect is like questionnaires or interviews, things that aren't directly observing the behavior. C, we can eliminate experimental functional analysis. Experimental means that we are controlling variables to confirm that our change in dependent variable was a direct result of our implementation of the independent variable. So that didn't happen just when you're recording ABC data, so that we can eliminate. D, preference. There's no preference assessment going on in ABC data, so that leaves us with B, descriptive. Descriptive assessment is all about ABC data. So that's most frequently what you as RBTs would be conducting or recording that kind of data, that descriptive assessment. So that is all for today. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to subscribe for some more videos and check out evansbehavioralservices.com/shop for a full 40-page study guide, flashcards, lots of articles. There's more resources for you there. So check it out. All right. Thanks. Have a great day.